In my door. Awesome.
Alright.
Comments are already.
Okay. Uh, cool. So good to see you here and good to not see you here those who are attending online. Uh, this is my journey. I often talk about it with my team and with close circle of friends. But now I feel it's time to share it with everyone. Uh, so essentially, this is also the story of Nomadcom because when I started becoming community builder, that's when I felt like, okay, I need to start communities or build a network of communities, and that's how Nomadka was born. So I'll start with a little background to all of this. You might be surprised, but I was a super introvert in my school days. I had two friends. Uh, Back then, I would have never imagined that I'll be a community builder someday, standing in front of more than 8 people at a time. Uh, yeah, 7. Still my comfort zone.
No, but there are not much.
Yeah. Yeah. I was more comfortable with online stuff, so I had virtual girlfriends, not in metaverse. uh, the reason was I always, wanted to travel. I did not really focus on studies. Everyone was like, I want to do, everyone was like, what are you doing with your career? Even in school, later in the school days. And I was like, okay, I just want to figure out what I want to do in my life. I don't want to just follow something because someone says I should. So I failed in my board exams in 12th just because I did not know why I was doing what I was doing.
Oh God.
Yeah. I had these two friends who were with me for like 10 years of my life. I did not talk to anyone else. I was also, I was lazy, super lazy, so I did not join any sport and stuff. So the avenues to make new friends in a small town were very limited. You know. Uh, so that's my story. To cut it short, there was no chance, not a single penny of chance for me to build communities because I did not belong to any community. Uh, then, after my graduation, even during my bachelor's, I had one friend and I used to hang out with that friend. Did not really talk much with anyone else. Um, then I started working there. Also, I joined the corporate world with the name that मैं 2 साल में छोड़ दूंगा, MBA करूंगा, and then I'll have my own life. I wanted to go abroad and stuff like that. Um, so I did a lot of crazy things during my 2 years of initial career. Yeah. So I used to do my street shopping, just going around, evaluating shops and restaurants and stuff, and sending anonymous report to their, feedback team and stuff. It was fun because I did not have to talk to anyone.
Where was all that?
This was in Mumbai. And this was back in 2008-9. Um, then I got into a program. I think I started opening up a little when I moved to, you know, uh, took a program in finance with CRISIL. So I was in Powai and then, yeah. Um, because then I started meeting similar-minded people who were sort of looking at, but still I wasn't very comfortable dealing with people. Uh, then when I quit that job, got a remote job, I was like, this is heaven. I don't need to meet anyone. Don't need to talk to anyone. I can just be on my own, just be wherever I want to be. So I took a remote job on a pay cut just because I felt okay. I can escape people. Uh, but then something happened, and I said, okay, let me just travel and see. I have the flexibility to travel wherever I can. And this was back in 2014 when remote work was not popular. I think you guys have also been
Yeah.
working remotely for a
Yeah,
long
for
time.
5 years, 6 years.
Yeah. So I started traveling, and that's when I felt like I was meeting. I was out of that cocoon of a small town boy, and I was meeting crazy people, and then I suddenly, slowly started feeling more comfortable with people. Um, yeah, started feeling more comfortable with people. So I was in Thailand during my digital nomad journeys, and I just suddenly felt like most of the Westerners, they are not very active on arranging events or gathering people together because by nature or by culture they are more individualistic. Uh, Whereas as an Indian, I felt like okay, I need to and I had that patriotism in me. I want to show my culture to everyone and stuff like that. So I started arranging little events, and this was back in 2016. Started arranging events in Chiang Mai in Thailand just to get people together, show them some little Indian stuff, make chai for them, make pakoras for them, and stuff like that. And that's when I felt like, okay, it's not about whether you're introvert or extrovert. It's just about finding your community, right? Finding your tribe. And I think that was the turning point in this whole journey. Um, I I realized that as Indians, we are used to having so much happening around us,
Yeah.
which is not the case with most of the Westerners, right? Uh, for them, they get overwhelmed if there are little, if there are too many things happening, or if they have to do too many things. Uh, so I think that's what got me into community management. Um, so to make extension of this was to make India popular among all these digital nomads around the world. I was also managing the virtual community of digital nomads back then. Moderating.
It's a platform or
Facebook. It had like 140,000 members. This was And when we started it, like when I joined as a moderator, we had about 20,000 members. So we grew that community up.
so it was already like kind of a smaller member community.
Yeah, it was small with low engagement, then bunch of moderators, including me.
How many were there before you joined?
There was only
No, the moderator there was just one.
yeah,
Was he like
one guy went this 20,000, and it was nice, but then it was not very engaging because
What?
one person was managing it, and it wasn't like he did not have enough time.
Oh, right. And was this guy from?
This guy was from Spain. Yeah. Uh, So I said, okay, let me do something to make India popular among global digital nomads. So I started 2017, 17, no? Yeah, 17. I started running retreats. We ran a retreat in Dharamshala where we had like 12 people from 6 different countries. And we did not spend anything on ad marketing, just word of mouth. Uh, we just said, okay, let's just. And India still is so fairly new to the digital nomad community because there are so many misconceptions about India, so many notions about internet is bad, there are too many culture shocks and stuff. Uh, so we wanted to break that, and I think the retreats helped in breaking that. But then doing the retreat and wrapping everything up in 1 month was too tiring. So natural extension was to start home space somewhere. So we took over a space in Himachal for a brief few month period just to experiment with this. But then,
Where was it in Himachal?
it was in Kumakad. So yeah, but then it did not work out because the owner was staying at the property. Had his hands were too much into it.
Yeah, record.
Yeah, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
So then this was 2017 end. 2018, I had this remote job all this while, right? So I was in my comfort zone, and suddenly towards the end of 2018, I lost my remote job. Okay, and I was like, I was in finance, and there was no way I could get another remote job back then because it was too tough in finance to get a remote job. I don't have to do freelancing uh, or just join some office job. That was the case. Uh, I chose to do some freelancing because this was always in my head that I want to save up and start my own space
Right.
sometime. But the freelancing projects were also not very, pretty business, and I chose not to join any corporate job.
Right.
In fact, I felt like I never wanted to do a job. Um, and it was full of struggle because Anvi was just a few months old, and then taking care of kids, adjusting to new life. Uh, you know. But then one fine day in early 2019, we said, okay, let's move to Goa and figure out what we want to do in life. And we did not have any savings. Uh, we just came to Goa. We took admission for kids to a school in a school. This was April 2019. We did not even have any plans.
When did you get married?
We got married in 2017, October.
Where was that?
So we got married on Goa first, and then we got married in Dharamshala, and then in Vietnam. So without a plan, we just came here, and I got a good freelancing project, luckily. But then, even with that, we did not think that we could start something, a community, uh, at least until a year from then. We came here in June. April we took admissions. June we came here, and July I saw this space, 25th July to be precise, and I said this has to happen. No matter what, this has to happen. We did not have anything borrowed from friends, most of it.
Credit card.
Credit card. Yeah, bought these chairs.
That's
Credit card.
With kids and everything like this.
Yeah. But the chairs, yeah, exactly. The chairs you are sitting on are bought from paper credit card. And August we took over this property, and we just kicked off. And I think I believed in this so much. I had my personal connects also, like through my digital nomad journey. I had a lot of people who were curious about India. Then the community, online community, there were a lot of people who were curious about India. So just within a couple of months, we were full. Like with mostly people, like in first 6 months, we hosted people from 14 different countries. Um, and very few Indians back then. Like Vishal was perhaps the only Indian. Yeah. Because the remote work was not very popular in India, it was not growing. Then the pandemic happened, and we were like, okay, shit, what to do with life now? Because again, whatever we had put in this. January 2020, I had quit my freelancing everything just to focus on this because I felt like it was time for me to dedicate my whole and soul into this. And in March, the lockdown happens, and we were just not sure how Indians would react to this, whether they will travel with their work or uh, because it's so much of cultural shift. Right? Even managers don't understand
Yeah.
people working from anywhere. You have a Canadian boss, so it's easier. But I think those with Indian bosses can feel it. Uh,
आपकी
but I think
Please.
within so March the lockdown started. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. By June, we were full again with only Indians. I think there were two foreigners stuck here, right? Alex, if you are watching this, thank you for saving us. And then Patrick, Victoria, yeah, Phil, actually. Um, then Ritika came first. Ritika, right before the lockdown, right after the lockdown ended, Ritika came. And yeah, Abhishek, Noriko, they came in 2020. Uh, and we were alive. Then it was obvious that remote work is growing. People want spaces outside their home and office to work from, want to travel. India is full of young people. So we said, okay, it's time to grow. And we crowdfunded. Sankalp is here. He also invested in the crowdfunding to open Villanova Secret Garden. Uh, and now that we have covered Goa. We are looking to expand pan India, and I think I'm grateful to the whole community. Like they go out of their way to support Numanda. Like Sid, I almost felt like he was our community manager. Every time he talks to people,
After a bottle of vodka.
Anisa says, "Oh my God, I'm feeling for my job."
No, she's the one who recruited me. Like, she's the manager. Like, she just unleashes her. Go Sid.
Yeah. Just drink some vodka.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think when we talk about community, everyone is talking about community nowadays. Those who don't understand community are also talking about it. All Instagram influencers, they call their followers a community, but community is where people are interacting with each other, right? Not just with you. It's not one-to-one communication. It has to be one-to-many. So the whole idea of building Nomad Girl is building that network of smart people uh, who are doing amazing things in whatever they are doing, who want to meet like-minded people, learn from them, share their knowledge, uh, live a more balanced life uh, rather than just having to travel to office, working from office, going home, sleeping, and that's it. So yeah, welcome to the new world of working and living, and we are super excited about what the future holds for us.
Right.
And I've learned a lot from my journey as a community builder. Uh, the most important thing is you have to focus on human connection. Unlike a lot of other co-working or co-living spaces, which are very transactional, our focus is always on uh, going beyond the transactional part. Of course, transaction is important to run the show, but going beyond that, I think it's about finding your balance. So that's about it. If you have any questions, anything you want to talk about, happy.
Like, all this time, like, what would you say? Like, were you building more of a business or like a community, right? Like, what happened first? Like,
So I think this is the binary thing that are you building a business or are you building a community? It's a wrong notion in itself.
Right.
I think the way I would like to put this as is we are building a business of belonging. Right? So if there is no community, there is no business. Right? Because then we will be like anyone else and we'll be competing with thousand other who are doing the same thing. Uh, so although I said as but the business was always back of the mind, because even for the community to thrive, the economics has to be right.
Right.
So there are some beautiful communities like Oroville. The economics is not working, and there are a lot of issues out there right now. I don't want to get into that zone where okay we start with a lot of enthusiasm and then we lose the tempo over the time just because there is no economics figured out or there is no motivation. Uh, so yeah, it started as a business of community.
So it's basically like you're saying community driven, community focused business basically,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So like that community, like you need to make sure that like they come back again and again. What is it like about that community or I mean when doing a community driven business, like what is it that like are bringing people back again and again, like, compared to like a hotel or some other groups and all.
I think you have to focus on authentic experience. By authentic experience, I mean uh, just be natural, just be honest. If you're doing something right, be proud about it. If you're doing something wrong, be honest about it. Take the feedback seriously. Be very, be friendly with your members, but make sure that you have a certain line in place, right?
Right.
And professional and personal. So it's very important to maintain uh, that balance, and you should start with why, right? So when I started Numeta, the why was very simple. I don't want to be any other hostel or any other hotel.
Right,
right. Because hostels are social, they're cool, but they don't really have a community. People come and go, they meet for a few days, and some of them meet again. Most of them don't never meet again. And hotels, there is no community. Uh, so I always wanted to build a social space which is curated. So I think when you are setting to build a community, knowing your audience is very important. In my case, it worked because I had already lived that life as well
Yes.
since July. So it was easy for me to figure out what people really want. Uh, so once you figure that audience out, I think it's much easier. Like 50% work is done.
Right.
I think another thing is that's the home feeling. So here where we serve, not serve, but like we have the indoor chef like Sila, right? So Sila is like the sister of everyone.
Yes.
She gives home food, food, healthy food, take care of people. We here just treat each other like brother, sister,
Yeah.
friends, for
We even cook together sometimes. Sanket also goes and cooks sometimes.
Why is the kitchen in that place? We don't know.
Soon.
Because I saw the menu this morning and I was telling these guys, why do we go out for breakfast? There's a kitchen here, and then there was a demand.
It's the third wave, so there's some.
Yeah. So Omicron, so we started it and then Omicron happened. So the staff left, like the partner staff left, and
We start
now it is hiring back again, starting soon.
A lot of restaurants in Goa is closed for the same reason. People just go from hometown. And it's hard to find good stuff.
in a community-driven business, I'm like just wondering, like, what is it like? I mean, you mentioned the hostel example, right? And hostel also, I feel like there is like a very social, and like in sometimes like they do come back and like there is a long-term relation as well there, but like it does not feel like there is a professional angle to it, right? Like, and, yeah, like your career is not like somehow like into it. Like it's not a complete life.
Yeah,
Right.
so because the community is not curated, anybody can walk in a hostel. You could just be a traveler, a tourist, or you could be working.
Right.
So there is no environment, no professional environment. It's not inspiring.
Right.
The chance of meeting like-minded people, having interesting professional discussions is very low.
Right.
So it's good when you are just traveling, but when you are doing like vacation kind of stuff, then it does not suit.
Yeah. I love hostels when I'm traveling, because then you meet some amazing people, but you're not bound to yeah.
So it's actually that's make us different compared to hotel or hostel, right? Because the socialize like if why you look at our logo with the balance of work and life of like all the working space and the close to nature is balance. So that's our urban meaning. That's why the nomad now is like a village for you from nomad. So we want to build that kind of feeling home. Whenever you heard about Nomad, you feel, oh, this is the home of this destination for me, a digital nomad.
And I think, I should talk about why Nomad now, right? Uh, so I'm from a small town. I had to move to Mumbai for a job. And then when I got a remote job, I felt like there are so many people out, especially in a country like India, who are moving to bigger cities just for career, leaving family and friends behind, leaving their, it's not necessarily bad, but leaving their comfort zone behind. Uh, if remote work becomes popular, the whole idea that having to go to a big city for career is irrelevant. So the whole idea about Nomad is building villages for digital nomads, or building spaces in villages beyond big cities, so that people can work from anywhere, live anywhere, without losing the quality of life, or not really quality of life, the diversity of life that city gives you, right? Um, and speaking about the hostel thing, I think there is no, what differentiates is in hostels there is no mindful community, right? So even if people stay longer, they don't necessarily stay long because someone else is staying longer, not for the community. They live there longer for the surroundings, for the place. Because the other people who are living there, they keep changing, right? So you won't stay in a place for people, longer for people if that's the case. So maybe someone likes Goa and finds the hostel comfortable, will spend a month in a hostel. Uh, but but then that's not the connection with the hostel itself, right? That's the connection with Goa. Uh, but what we are trying to build is connection with Nomad now. Like I met people doing this in Nomad now. I could collaborate with people doing this. I met someone who matches my vision for life, and maybe you can also find your life partners. So
We have some support.
yeah, I won't name them.
I don't say that we have some support from the community.
So like you were before handling a community based around like hostels, right? And then you wanted to create a community which is like kind of like different from that.
I was not building a community around hostels.
Like but Gumakad and all. Like,
Gumakad is not a hostel.
oh, okay. It is.
So
Also
Gumakad is a
same.
weird place, as I put it. It's amazing. Like without Gumakad, this wouldn't have happened.
okay.
So, Ayush, if you are here listening, Ayush, Lubin, these guys started Gumakad back in 2013. And the whole idea was create a alternate living space where artists and coders, coders can come together and live there, live in the mountains.
Right.
And but then over the time, I felt when we took over, we said, okay, let's put some structure, real co-working structure to it. So we set up a co-working space where, and so the idea was the same. It's just that back then we were also learning our ropes.
Right. And you are learning from the community basically, right? You know, these are the different needs that are coming up and we are not able to. So that's how like, so you first build the community and then build the business, right? Which was more around like.
So
based
I
around
think
that.
I was already a part of community which was already built.
Uh, it was already built.
Yeah, it was already built, but it did not have the spine.
Okay.
Like the why behind the community was not very clear. Because it was also in evolution. Like imagine a couple of guys coming together, setting something up for the first time in India. Uh, so over the time, it was getting defined, I think. Um, so then at that time, I think the need was so the community came first to me, but I felt that this could be a better business, because it could be run better and the space could be run more professionally, and that's how I took it over. So, yeah, the marriage between community and business was always there in my head.
Right. This, and is there some parts right now, like like I see from like the crowdfunding part, like the community kind of like owns the business as well. Like, what made you think about that? Like,
So again, as a community-focused business, I feel that if community members are my shareholders,
yes,
it's or investors, it's even better because then the interests are aligned.
right.
These are the people who are also part of the community, so they understand the community. So my pain point when I started the whole fundraising process was explaining what we do, right? Because people don't understand community. People don't understand uh, no matter for
They
that
don't
matter.
even know what the views on the web when we say
Yeah.
co-working community. What is that?
Yeah.
Yes.
So most of them thought we are a hostel. But now after living here, we know that it's not. So crowdfunding was always easier to explain. Then as an early stage venture, I felt that if community is investing, I think it's also creating wealth for the community. Over the time, if we grow and if the value increases, we can create wealth for the community. And when the community gets involved in terms of investments or even if without investments, I think a lot of good things happen, right? They come up with a lot of suggestions, they come up with a lot of skills, like say we were talking about DAO the other day,
Yes.
and how we can implement AI.
Calling
So-
rules also, like, I mean, like Villanova has, but like we need to go over here, like those kind of small suggestions.
Yeah. And I think, rather than, I'm not averse to taking VC money,
Right.
but my first preference would be to talk to the community
Right.
or facing the problem that, okay, I want to work from, I don't want to go to office, I don't want to work from home, but I want to go somewhere nice to work from.
Right.
I want to live somewhere nice to work from. And only those people will now I think people have started understanding, realizing that okay, this is the future. But until I think few months ago, it was more like okay, only few people understood, and this was a problem, real problem.
Do you think like some VCs like sees your business and like then like creates like some like other entrepreneurs see this business and like start creating a competing service and they try to like mimic everything that you are doing and like they have more money. Like, do you think can they win? Like, or like is the like there is like something from the community that like maybe is like like
So the funny part is, this is what I have realized during my journey is uh, this is a very J-shaped, slow scale business in initial years, right? You have to really focus very hard on building the basics of the community, uh, building the values, building the code, and I don't think VCs have that patience.
right.
And very few people have the patience that we have had like 2.5 years of not earning money and
Right.
still focusing on this requires a lot of courage. And I think, and if someone really comes up with a very good community, I would be happy because at the end of the day, the goal is also to help people work from anywhere. So if someone, the market is huge.
Right.
It's just that people don't understand the market
Right.
well. And
Yes.
Big,
And,
big, big.
and what do you say? Like, okay, yeah, like the point about that VC's interest being like misaligned, like that was also I think, like you said, right, the community's vision is aligned with like what you are doing, right? Like their needs are coming first, right? VC will only care about like their exit and like profit making. So definitely, like in any stage, like any decision that they're making is not like for the profit of the community, but like for their own profit, right? Like like and the investors' profit, like any startup does that.
so I think what I feel is, and what I have realized over the last 2.5 years is, uh, people are ready to pay premium for this softer part. Like there might be spaces which are cheaper than Command.
Yeah.
But they don't have that software or community.
Yeah.
And a lot of people stay here for so long, like Ritika's example, right? She's here for so many months. If she gets a long-term lease, she would get it much cheaper, but she stays here because it feels like home. So the problem that we are solving is of human connection. Anybody can create co-working space. Anybody can create, you know, rooms, comfortable rooms. But where is the community? Where is this authenticity? Where is this? How should I put it? Curation in terms of who you choose to take in and who you choose to refuse. So we have refused people in the past just because they did not fit the values. Sometimes we do get, like especially Villanova because it's on the main road. We do get a lot of walk-ins. Sometimes we have to say no to them because they're noisy and don't fit. So yeah,
And good news is we want to expand soon. So
yeah. So we are looking to start something in Himachal. Yeah, something in Himachal towards the end of April, early May is the timeline. It's a stretched timeline. My wife is looking at me as if, yeah, I'm gone mad. But so putting it in Lucky Ali's songs words, right? Dilwaji kabhi hai pahad mein, thoda sa kahiye environment. So I personally have lived in the mountains, and it's also about that balance of being where you want to be. Sometimes I want to be in the mountains, so I can be in the mountains. Sometimes I want to be by the beach, I can be by the beach. So it's also about giving that flexibility in those options to people uh, and to myself to work from anywhere.
How would you describe the Mandgao's community?
Interesting. Mm. So that definition keeps changing. Why? Because the demographics keep changing. When we started, it was purely digital nomads, um, like those who have been doing this for a while. Then we shifted to more you know, first timers. Uh, then monsoons we get artists. So I think uh, instead of defining the community, uh, setting the basics of the community. That's not a definition, but the pillars of the community. One pillar is they they have to bring some value to the community, right? If someone is just coming to stay here and they don't care about the people around them, I don't think it's the place for them. So bring value, give value, uh, maintain peace, calm. Like I want to create this as a calm place. Where people don't fight with each other because it's a shared part of it is shared. So at the end of the day, there is you know potential for conflicts.
Right.
So I need to avoid those conflicts and make it a calm space. Um, Third is collaboration. So if you see an opportunity to collaborate, or if our community managers see, or if I see that two people have an opportunity to collaborate, we connect. We connect them. So yeah, collaboration and value, and authentic, to be authentic, to pretend anything. Yeah, I just be honest yourself, like sin after vodka.
Too much info.
Actually,
TMI.
the idea is just building the digital platform as well. That people post profile, whoever stay in the Manila can have a profile there. If somebody is in the community wants to look, for example, developer, they can go to profile something like that.
Yeah, so all the time we want to create a digital community where, okay, right now, people staying in Nomad, right now in Nomad, right? You don't know who stayed here before, who is going to stay after you. But if we could have a digital community which acts like, let's say, LinkedIn, uh, I think that would be awesome. And we do have LinkedIn community where we are adding people. We just created. So yeah,
You also mentioned that there is a like the why was missing in like a lot of the places that you were, right? So what is the why? I think you mentioned a few along the way, but like what is it like about like the Mandgao, like the why? Like what is the why?
the why for me personally is only after being digital nomad, I realized that I could be extrovert, right?
Uh,
So I want to create community. I wanted to create community for myself. Selfish, super selfish, right? Reason. Uh, because I wanted to have like-minded people who travel, uh, have this world you prefer to balance life, not worry about anything. And I think my why comes strongly from
And what the communities why are you like? I think because like you said, the community is like so diverse, demographic, like people coming from like so many backgrounds and all. It's very difficult to, but like, are you like finding some whys like this community form? What's like driving?
A bunch of people have told us that they were going through a rough patch in their life.
No.
After coming here, meeting people, they healed. Okay. So as I said, human connection is a big why, right?
Right.
So we want to drive that human connection, and that's one of the whys. Second is it's very professional. Uh, it's nicely going, right?
Yeah.
You want certain things in your life to be going, because you don't want every place to be a party place.
Right.
You don't want every place to have music playing around. You just want calm sometimes. And I think people who come to Nimanda also want that somewhere. Because in Goa there are 100 party places, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to be one of them. We don't want to value what Nimanda is. Nimanda is the calm place.
Right.
Why do you choose Goa as your first?
Because
It's
Again-
personal. It's personal.
yeah, two reasons. One is Joy, my wife, is Vietnamese, so Goa was more comfortable in terms of landscape and food for her. Second is Goa. Goa is the first place people think of in India, right? When you want to go travel, and even for the so when we were building Nomada, we were building it for the international digital nomads, right? So for them, Goa had charm, and for us to market a place in India to them, it was much easier to market Goa than any other place.
Right.
So
I think it was destiny because out of any other place, we started actually in Kumaka. That's his passion. But didn't happen just because also this personal reason. Like I got pregnant and he was so upset to run himself.
yeah.
That's why. So I mentioned we chose Goa and Goa chose.
See, questions Google करना है.
Yeah. What to ask during a community building lesson session?
Right, you will find that on nomad.com.
Yeah, I'm finding the same stream and like again finding
And I think the same is the vibe if you go to hostel, right? A lot of young people and backpacker and even teenager who just escape from school something. So what such kind of people can you talk like have the deep conversation or meaningful conversation? Not maybe say hi and go to bar party something. But you can choose us like if you being here you can have deep conversation professional conversation with people. You also can go to party and meet other such kind of people. It's on your own hand. It's not like you want to work and the music around and you meet nothing.
So yesterday when you told me that you are from IIT 2013 batch, just day before yesterday me and Uncle had a chat about that my meet. They are from 2013 batch. So yeah, that's the connection. We try to make the connection. Yeah, take this picture, no?
Yeah, I did it already.
I do from behind. If you want to do picture,
Oh,
we
okay.
will stop it. Say bye.
Yeah, bye bye. Thank you for joining today's session.
I
We
think you can
do
save this in
Nomad Connect every week, every Wednesday. So yeah, please join us live from Instagram.
Any one of you want to talk, share your story? Anisha, you want that person to talk?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think you guys have
Yeah.
interesting story because you have been working remotely for years now.
Yeah. I think some of us also did traveling in Southeast Asia for extended
Yeah,
periods.
he was in Chiang Mai as well. There
Okay.
for a few days. I couldn't go there.
Yeah, I've traveled in Vietnam, Cambodia, worked in
Okay. I think we have had the same journey,
Yeah.
just different times.
Yeah. Just a couple of years.
Thank you. Bye bye.
But even
Different parts, like that, you call me.
it's better.